In the 5th year of marrying Sophia, I finally got the good news that I would be free from this world. In the last 3 days, I decided to be the perfect husband Sophia wanted, and the quiet father my daughter needed. On the first day, Sophia complained that I wasn't gentlemanly enough and insisted on bringing a fake gentleman to the banquet. I ironed her dress without a single complaint. On the second day, my daughter said I was too talkative and insisted on finding the fake gentleman. I smiled and sent her off to the fake gentleman. On the third day, a friend called, frustrated, and asked me, "Aren't you afraid you'll lose both of them if you keep doing this?" I just smiled indifferently and said, "It doesn't matter. I'll be home soon." Suddenly, Sophia looked at me with a panic I'd never seen before. "Ethan, aren't you an orphan? Besides, do you have any other family here?" Seeing the shock in her eyes, I hung up the phone and spoke calmly. "I was just joking. Even if I had a home to return to, they wouldn't welcome me." Hearing this, Sophia finally relaxed. "Tonight, I'm going to accompany Lucas for his birthday, and my daughter is going too," she said. I smiled and asked, "Should I come too?" Sophia looked surprised. If she had asked that before, I would have been furious and wouldn't have let her or our daughter go see Lucas. But now there was no trace of resentment on my face. I even offered to go with them. Sophia still refused me coldly. "You don't need to come. Although Lucas's parents raised you for many years, he's back home," Sophia said. "This is the first birthday party his biological parents have prepared for him. If you go, it will only make things more awkward for everyone." Her words made it clear she thought I was unnecessary. I listened quietly. I couldn't fit into my adoptive parents' family. I couldn't return to my own family, and I couldn't stay with my in-laws. The word orphan used to describe me fit perfectly. I nodded indifferently. "All right then, I won't go. Please give Lucas the gift for me." Sophia looked at me in disbelief. I ignored her gaze and took a box from the cabinet, handing it to her. Inside the box was a meticulously crafted watch. Sophia opened it and glanced inside before Sophia dismissed it, saying, "This gift is too cheap. It's not good enough for Lucas." I just stood there as she casually tossed the gift box onto the table. What Sophia didn't know was that what she called cheap was actually the best gift I could afford. Lucas and I weren't close, but since it was his birthday, I didn't want to cause any unnecessary trouble for myself. That day, I had searched high and low to find this elegant and expensive watch. I hadn't even worn it myself yet. Sophia had. She dismissed it and tossed it aside. In truth, I knew Sophia didn't truly despise the watch for being cheap. She simply looked down on any gift a stay-at-home Sophia furrowed her brows and looked up at me, asking where I had put the tie I had prepared for Lucas a few days ago. The tie she mentioned I had seen just a few days earlier. It was the most thoughtful gift I had ever given Sophia in the 5 years we'd been married. At the time, I thought Sophia might have noticed my unusual behavior and wanted to cheer me up on my birthday, hoping to reconcile with me. So she had deliberately put it back on her bookshelf and pretended not to know about it. It turned out that the real owner of this gift was never me. I went into the study, retrieved the tie, and handed it to Sophia. She took the gift box, and her furrowed brows relaxed slightly. "My daughter and I will be back soon. If there's anything you want to eat, just charge it to my card and buy it yourself," I said with a smile and a nod. Then I lowered my eyes to watch their backs as they left. The front door slammed shut. As I turned to walk toward my room, I heard the maid's mocking voice from behind. "He's such a failure as a husband. He can't even keep his wife's heart, let alone his child's." Even though he shares the same birthday as Mr. Lucas, his wife and child went to celebrate with someone else. There's not even a single person who remembers his birthday. I bet it won't be long before Sophia's position as his daughter-in-law is taken by Mr. Lucas. The person beside me sighed with regret. The master truly has a hard life. His biological parents are dead, and his adoptive parents don't love him either. Lucas, on the other hand, was fortunate to Lucas grew up pampered in his family for the first 20 years. Now that his biological parents have risen to power, he can live a good life again. The servant's conversation clearly reached my ears, but I never looked back. I had heard such words before. At first, I would scold them with a displeased expression. I didn't dislike Lucas, but I thought Sophia still loved me. But now my heart had gradually grown numb. It didn't matter anymore. Tonight, I could finally go home. I returned to my room and took down the wedding photo on the wall. On our wedding night, the system announced that I successfully completed the mission and received an invitation to leave this world. Over the years, I had said many sweet words to Sophia, but I didn't know when my flattery began to mix with genuine feelings. I felt miserable all night. In the middle of the night, I mustered the courage to tell Sophia while drunk, "Actually, I'm just a passing stranger in your life. One day, you'll meet your true leading man, a gentlemanly, charming man who is so much better than me." Sophia's eyes immediately filled with tears, and she hugged me tightly. "I don't want any refined gentleman or someone who understands women's feelings. The only male lead in my life is you. I love your true self, and I enjoy being under your control." That night, I was so overwhelmed by happiness that I ignored the system's repeated invitations. I forgot the truth, that people's hearts can change. 5 years passed in the blink of an eye, and Lucas, as expected, entered her life. Her heart gradually began to lean toward him. She started to complain that I wasn't gentlemanly enough, that I couldn't navigate social gatherings with ease, that I restricted her too much and didn't give her enough freedom. She despised all my flaws, despising me for not being perfect. The promises made on our wedding night were ultimately remembered only by me. Suddenly, the front door banged loudly. I didn't notice, and the wedding photo fell to the ground, shattering into pieces. The knocking didn't stop. I hurriedly stepped. I stepped over the shards and opened the door. It was Sophia who grabbed my hand and pulled me outside. I instinctively furrowed my brows. "Where are we going?" Sophia turned back toward the hospital. "Lucas ate the cake you made, and something happened in the hospital room." My daughter Emily held a cup of water, tiptoeing to Lucas's lips and feeding him water, sip by sip. Such care was something I had never experienced before. Over the past 5 years, even when I was sick in bed and couldn't move, if I asked my daughter to get me a cup of water, she would only coldly turn her head away, saying, "I have to study, get it yourself." At the time, I thought it was because she was young and didn't understand. Now I realize it was because the father she truly loved wasn't me. When Lucas saw me enter the ward, his body trembled involuntarily, and with reddened eyes, he apologized. "Brother, I'm sorry, it's my fault for getting too close to Sophia. It's all my fault." Hearing this, Emily immediately stepped in front of Lucas. Her small face filled with caution, she said, "You evil person. Lucas is handsome and kind, and you're jealous of him, so you gave him a cake with glass shards in it." I was startled and asked calmly, "What cake?" Emily stomped her feet angrily. "Don't pretend. I clearly saw you bring the cake. Yourself. There was even a handwritten card from you on it. You almost killed Lucas. You don't deserve to be my dad." Even though I was used to it, the child's innocent words still pierced my heart. I looked at Sophia. "You believe her?" Sophia didn't answer, but her disappointed gaze gave me the answer. I suddenly felt deeply mocked. A few days ago, I had burned my hand while making soup for Sophia, and my right hand had been wrapped in a bandage ever since. I couldn't even lift a pen, let alone write a card, let alone bake a cake by hand. If either Sophia or my daughter had noticed the injury on my right hand, they would have known how ridiculous this lie was. But now, the two of them stood beside, Lucas looking as though they were all against me, making me feel like an outsider. I looked at my daughter and smiled indifferently. "Since you think I'm not worthy to be your father, I'll leave now. I won't be in your way anymore." "You can't leave," she said. I turned around and walked toward the door, but someone suddenly pushed me hard from behind. Emily shoved me angrily and blocked the doorway. Lucas, sitting on the hospital bed, looked at me with red eyes and spoke, "Ethan, I ate a lot of the cake you sent. The glass shards cut my tongue, but I don't care. I just want an apology from you." I frowned and looked at Lucas coldly, mocking him without mercy. That cake was sent by someone pretending to be me, wasn't it? You cut your own tongue? You're really cruel. I turned to Sophia and said coldly, "Let me tell you the truth. 2 days ago, my hand was injured." Lucas suddenly spoke up loudly, his sharp voice cutting me off. "I know you hate me, but I never thought you hated me this much. Not only did you hurt me, but now you're trying to pin all the blame on me." After saying this, Lucas looked at Sophia with red eyes. Sophia suppressed her anger and coldly scolded me. "Enough. When did you become this person? You're so narrow-minded. Do you even look like a father? How are you going to set a good example for Emily?" When did I become this person? I can't remember exactly, but it was probably when Lucas first slandered me, and she and our daughter trusted him without hesitation, leaving me heartbroken all night. Or maybe it was when she started finding me boring, refusing to attend banquets with me, and instead brought Lucas as her companion, leaving me feeling hurt for 3 days. Or perhaps it was the night I stayed up until 5 in the morning to make her chicken soup, only for her to turn around and give it to Lucas to nourish his body, leaving me feeling hurt for a long time. There are too many such incidents to count, so many that I don't know where to begin. Sophia tightened her expression and coldly said, "Now apologize to Lucas immediately. This matter will be settled." I forced a smile and ground out 2 words between my teeth. "You're dreaming." Sophia's face darkened and a flash of anger crossed her eyes. "Ethan, say that again. Do you really think I won't do anything to you?" I sneered and repeated what I had just said. "I said you're dreaming. I didn't do it, so I can't apologize. I have nothing to feel guilty about." Sophia was completely enraged. She grabbed the half-eaten piece of cake on the table, called Lucas over to hold me down, and forcefully shoved it into my mouth. "It seems you won't cry until you see the coffin. This is punishment for your stubbornness. Since you refuse to apologize, I'll make you suffer the same pain Lucas did." I choked on the cake, which mixed with glass shards, leaving a metallic taste in my throat. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Lucas smirking at me, and looking at Sophia's disgusted gaze, I suddenly felt so unfamiliar. I couldn't believe she was the same gentle girl I once knew. I realized that the person I once loved was long gone, and Sophia was no longer her. The chaos around me was filled with voices of blame. I didn't want to hear them, and I didn't want to hear them anymore. Then, the mechanical voice of the system echoed in my mind. "Host, 30 seconds remaining. Until disconnection from the world. 29 seconds!" I gripped the wall and I slowly made my way toward the window. Seeing my movements, Sophia stiffened and sneered coldly. "What do you think you're doing? Do you really think threatening to die will make me feel sorry for you? Stop dreaming. You think I don't know who you are. You're too cowardly to die." When I turned to look at Sophia, her eyes were filled with nothing but deep disgust. I forced a smile. "Perhaps it was because I still harbored a sliver of hope for you that I followed you here. But now I realize how ridiculous I was. Sophia, you're truly pitiful. You don't even have the ability to distinguish right from wrong. You've wasted my sincere feelings. You've betrayed me. I'll never forgive you. This life will never meet again." In her stunned gaze, I blurted out everything I'd been holding back for so long. Sophia trembled, managing to force out, "Ethan, you're crazy!" I didn't respond. Reaching out to touch the windowsill, the next moment I leaped out the window. Blood spattered everywhere and I was dead. People below were in a frenzy, screams and shouts echoing through the air. Sophia trembled, unable to believe what she was seeing. As she slowly made her way to the window, when she saw the bright red blood stain beneath me, Sophia shuddered violently, her body involuntarily stumbling backward a few steps, frozen in shock. Behind her, Emily's trembling voice echoed, "Mom, Dad is bleeding so much." Sophia's heart shattered, and she snapped back to reality, stumbling toward the stairs. Lucas struggled to suppress a smile, quickly got out of bed, and grabbed Sophia. "Sophia, don't go. Seeing blood is bad luck. The security guards will come to handle his body soon. I think it's better that he's dead." At least he won't keep bothering you to divorce him. Sophia suddenly pushed him away, her face darkening. What nonsense are you talking about? Ethan promised to be with me. Forever? How could he be dead? Sophia's voice rose sharply as she pushed Lucas, causing him to stumble and fall against the wall. Lucas hadn't expected that Sophia, the same woman who had forced him to swallow a cake filled with glass shards earlier, would be so upset because of him. By the time he looked up in shock, Sophia was already gone. There was a long line outside the elevator, and Sophia was waiting impatiently. She turned and rushed into the nearby stairwell. The last time she had been this eager to see me was the day she found out I was going to propose to her. On the day of the proposal, there was an accident in the middle of the road, and all the vehicles were forced to stop. Sophia got out of the car and ran toward me as fast as she could. At that time, I smiled as I wiped the sweat off her forehead and said helplessly, "Actually, you don't have to tire yourself out like this. After all, you know that no matter how long it takes, I'll always wait for you." She shook her head and smiled, saying, "Because I want to see the person I love as soon as possible, I have to run." Her words made me smile, and that smile was frozen in her memory. From a distance, she heard the chaos of the crowd, and Sophia's thoughts snapped back to reality. I was surrounded by people, and Sophia struggled to push her way through the crowd to reach me. The person who had been smiling in her memories was now lying in a pool of blood, his face pale and lifeless. Sophia knelt beside me, her trembling fingers gently touching my nose. I wasn't breathing. The last thread of reason in Sophia's mind snapped, and her eyes turned red in an instant. "Are you joking with me? After all, you said it yourself. That you loved me most and would stay with me forever. How could you break your promise? First, wake up, Ethan. If you wake up now, I'll take you home. I'll give you anything you want. Why can't I fulfill your every wish?" Sophia's soft voice grew louder and louder until she finally broke down in tears. I didn't answer her, just lay there quietly with pale lips. Everyone around us fell silent, watching Sophia lose her mind. Then, a hurried voice rang out from behind us. "Miss, please step aside." Several doctors and nurses hurriedly placed me on a stretcher and rushed me to the emergency room. Sophia followed me to the outside of the operating room. Time passed, slowly. Suddenly, her sleeve was pulled, and Sophia turned to see Emily, followed by a servant. Sophia recognized him. He was the servant who had been by Lucas's side for years. As he made eye contact with Sophia, the servant hurriedly lowered his head and stammered, "I have something to tell Miss Sophia. This morning, when the lady saw the person delivering the cake, it was actually me. Mr. Lucas told me to wear his clothes, put on a mask and a hat, and deliver the cake. If I refused, he would cut off my mother's medical expenses. But I didn't. No, there were glass shards in the cake, and I had no idea my actions would lead to someone's death. My conscience is tormenting me, so I've decided to tell you both the entire truth, Miss Sophia. Whatever punishment you choose to impose on me, I will accept it. I don't want to spend the rest of my life living with this guilt." The servant's face was pale as he fumbled in his pocket and pulled out a voice recorder. "This is the recording of Mr. Lucas's orders to me at the time. I am the one who wronged Mr. Ethan." The maid closed her eyes in distress as Lucas's aggressive voice echoed from the recorder. "Slander him. I was Sophia's childhood friend. I should have been her husband. It was Ethan who stole my happiness. How dare he deserve Sophia's love? Do as I say and don't even think about resisting me. Otherwise, your mother won't survive tonight." The daughter's mouth opened wide in disbelief, her eyes filled with shock. How could Lucas do such a thing? Sophia clenched her fists tightly, her face dark and terrifying. She suddenly recalled the disappointed words I had left before jumping off the building. "Sophia, you're so pitiful. You don't even have the ability to distinguish right from wrong. You've wasted all my sincere feelings." She knew all of this all along. Sophia's heart was torn apart, and the anger in her chest couldn't be contained. The only thing on her mind now was to find Lucas and confront him. Coincidentally, as Sophia walked down the hallway, Lucas came walking toward her. Seeing Sophia, he suppressed the joy in his eyes and hurried over. Sophia, I was so worried. About you. I thought you were here. Lucas didn't notice Sophia's gloomy expression and continued speaking as if nothing had happened. I know you're a sentimental person and it's understandable that you're heartbroken over your husband's death, but people have to move on. If you really need a husband, I can be there for you. As he spoke, Lucas was about to lean his head against Sophia's shoulder when a sudden slap landed on his face. Lucas touched his burning cheek and looked at Sophia in disbelief. You hit me. Sophia stuffed her hand into her pocket and threw the voice recorder to the ground. With each sentence played back, Lucas's face grew paler. These recordings are all fabricated. I never did any of those things. Seeing that he refused to admit it, Sophia gave a disappointed, cold laugh. Just then, Emily rushed over with the maid. The moment Lucas saw the maid, his expression shifted from shock to anger. So it was you idiot who exposed me. I'll kill you. Lucas lunged forward to choke him, but Sophia stopped him with a firm grip. Her eyes were filled with intense disappointment. Lucas, why are you doing this? Everyone loved you. What else could you possibly want? Why did you have to frame Ethan? Lucas glared at her with red eyes, his voice choked with emotion. You gave all your love to me. If you truly loved me, how could you marry him and have a child with him? I'm your childhood friend. I should be your husband. He ruined our relationship. Sophia stiffened, furrowing her brows and speaking coldly. Lucas, I've always just seen you as a younger brother. Though I favored you and cared for you, I've never harbored any improper feelings toward you. Even without Ethan, I would never have married you. Lucas's voice faltered. The person who had forced me to eat a cake filled with glass shards, for his sake, was now claiming she didn't love him. Several police officers approached and showed their badges to the crowd. We are police officers from District A. Who called the police? Emily, who had been standing silently in the corner, suddenly raised her hand and pointed at Lucas. I called the police. I want to report him for threatening to harm my father. The police walked up to Lucas and said coldly, looking into his eyes. Desperate eyes stared back at me. We need to take you in for questioning. When I finally regained consciousness, the excruciating pain had faded. I struggled to open my eyes and saw the familiar sight of my small home. A wave of immense relief washed over me. Then, the system's mechanical voice echoed in my mind. Congratulations, host. You've completed the mission. The reward has been transferred to your bank account, wishing you a smooth life in the real world. If you wish to accept another mission, feel free to contact me anytime. With that, the system fell silent once more. With the system's reward of 100 million, I finally lived the life of luxury and wealth I'd always dreamed of, without Sophia's and my daughter's contempt, without Lucas's schemes. I had an endless supply of money and happiness. My future looked bright.